Hey everybody, how's it going? Remi Sovran here from RemiSovran.com. And in today's video I want to talk about strength and conditioning and just something you can kind of implement into your exercise programs and just like a consideration for any of you trainers, coaches, or athletes out there. So one thing is that you want to look at is a lot of your training done sitting. And if a lot of your training is done sitting, this can be problematic. And I'm going to tell you why this can be problematic. Is because firstly, is it very functional when you apply this to a sport-specific scenario? So think about a sport, hockey, soccer, football, whatever it is, are you ever sitting in those sports? So that's the first question you guys should ask yourselves. Now, when you think about it, is doing some sort of seated exercise, is that applicable to playing football or hockey? And the answer to that is no, it's not. It's not very applicable at all because you're never sitting in those sports. That's the first consideration, guys. Now the second consideration is that with sitting, what ends up happening is that we do this throughout the majority of our days. Now, I'm going to take a sport like hockey, and with hockey, you have a lot of your athletes in the sport. They're always sitting, whether that's on the bench, tying their skates, or just during the day, whether they're sitting at a desk or just watching television or something. And sitting should be considered a dynamic task, and the reason being is because it uses part of our capacity through our muscles, tendons, and ligaments to basically hold us up. So when we're sitting, some of our muscles are turned on, and specifically within our lower back, what ends up happening is that we get a lot of our tendons, ligaments, and muscles being used, and so over time, with all this sitting, we're going to use up some of that capacity. So by using some of that capacity, what ends up happening is that if we go into the gym and we start doing more sitting tasks or sitting exercises, we're further using that capacity, which can further contribute to a potential injury over time, specifically to our lower back, and this is what we want to avoid at all costs, is injury. So that's the second consideration, guys, because with sitting, we're using more capacity with our lower back, and that's not exactly what we want or are looking for. Thirdly, is just that the thing is with sitting is that it does place a force onto our spine, onto our lower back specifically, and when we're in the gym and we're doing exercises, maybe like a seated row or something, thing is that it can be a very dangerous exercise, especially if we're in a poor postural position where we're seated and our spine's flexed. And what ends up happening is that we have a rounded back, and over time, if we load up on that exercise, a potential disc herniation or bulge could occur. This could be ultimately very problematic. Another thing is just that when you're sitting in that position and you're lifting weights, is that you're causing that compression on your spine to occur, and over time, with repeated exercise bouts, especially being seated, as we keep getting that compression, we could have problems related to our spine occurring over time, or some sort of back injury occurring. So it's just a third consideration, guys, of why you may want to avoid sitting. The thing is with sitting, guys, it's not very fundamental and it's not very functional in terms of a sport-specific scenario. There is a purpose for it when doing exercise in the gym. At times, and like that could be for maybe a rehab purpose where you don't want to have the guy on his feet or whatnot. There are special occasions where that should be done, but for the most part, at least from my training and my opinion, I think sitting should be avoided, especially if you're training athletes or any type of athletic type of scenario or whatnot, just because of those reasons that I listed, and it's just something you want to kind of avoid. And you want to make exercise as functional as possible and make it as transferable as possible to the sport when you are training athletes for a specific sport. So guys, that's just kind of something to consider, and that's just kind of, I just wanted to kind of provide that to you guys if you guys are athletes, if you're trainers or coaches, or you work with any type of athletes. It's just kind of something you may want to think about when you're kind of constructing your exercise programs. So kind of maybe to look to keep more things more functional, just looking to maybe do things instead of sitting, do them standing, because it could be more applicable. That's just kind of one little example where you can maybe change a seated row to a standing row, and just by doing that, you're already kind of taking compression off that lower spine, making it a little bit more functional because now you're standing instead of sitting. So that's just kind of one way to think about things, guys, if you are working in a sport-specific scenario. So guys, if you have any questions regarding this video, please leave a comment below. I'll be happy to answer those questions. And also, if you enjoy this video and you want to see more videos similar to this and more tips, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Okay guys, so for that, we'll leave it for today's video, and all the best and take care.